A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge in Allah from shaitan the rejected. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters in Islam. On behalf of the International Islamic Propagation Center, I would like to welcome all the participants here today to the fifth in the series of English lectures by Mr. Muhammad Sheikh. Today's lecture is entitled, What Al-Quran Says About the Kaaba and the Qibla. But prior to doing that, I would like to invite Qari Abdus Samad to come up to the rostrum and recite a few ayats from the Holy Quran. The ayats which he will be reciting are from Surah Bani Israel, that's Surah 17, ayats 80 through 82. For those who wish to follow through its recitation and the English translation, we have made arrangements to have the Arabic and its English translation projected onto the back screen. I would request you all, brothers and sisters, that please pay extensive attention to these ayats as they address the intellect of each and every one of us. Furthermore, these ayats form the basis of the lecture which Mr. Muhammad Sheikh is going to be delivering today. Qari Abdus Samad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل رب أدخلني مدخل صدق وأخرجني مخرج صدق واجعل لي من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا صدق الله العظيم.
The translation of the ayats recited is as follows. Say, O my Lord, let my entry be by the gate of truth and honor, and likewise my exit by the gate of truth and honor. And grant me from thy presence an authority to aid and say, truth has arrived and falsehood perished, for falsehood is bound to perish. We send down in the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. To the unjust, it causes nothing but loss after loss. Sadaqallah, Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim. I would like to take a few moments of your time now, like I said earlier on, and give you the lecture format which we will be hosting today. And this is especially important for those individuals who have not been attending or who have not attended these lectures before. Each one of you will be holding a booklet on today's lecture. These booklets would have been given to you upon your entrance into the auditorium. Inside the booklet you will find a small piece of paper, and you would have also been given a pen. On the first page of the booklet, you will note a pro forma which is asking details regarding your name, address, and contact telephone numbers. This list is going to greatly help the International Islamic Propagation Center to update the list of its members and those individuals who wish to receive literature and publications from the center and future invitations to its lectures. I would request you all please to take a few moments of your time, either after the lecture or after the question and answer session. Fill these out and please have them handed over to any of the program coordinators. You will recognize them by the badges they wear, or please hand it in to the reception counter at the lobby. The subsequent pages of the booklet contain ayats from the Holy Quran. On the right hand side you will note the Arabic ayats, and on the left is its corresponding English translation. The ayats which have been placed in this booklet have been chronologically inserted in the same order in which they appear during the lecture. And to further aid those who wish to follow through, we have made arrangements on the back screen to have the same ayats projected along with its English translation. I must note at this point in time that the entire lecture of Mr. Muhammad Sheikh is based on the Quranic ayats. There is absolutely no interpretation, and he does not propagate any school of thought. All of us present here today have evolved from a certain learning process. That learning process is to a very great extent dependent upon the families which we come from and the religious ideology or school of thought which we belong. The information which has been fed to us over the passage of time has come to a very great extent from historical backgrounds and various other information which has stood the test of time, and as such has become to believe as the truth. It is this information or part of this information which we hold as Islamic. In today's lecture, there might be a few concepts which may conflict with the preconceived concepts which we have been believing as Islamic. Therefore, I request you all, brothers and sisters, please to analyze and carefully understand the ayats of the Holy Quran vis-a-vis the concept which it portrays. And this is especially important if we are to be believers and submit our wills to the Almighty Allah. At the culmination of the lecture, we will open the floor to the question and answer session, which will give any of you who are present here today an opportunity to address the speaker on any points that you may have pertaining to the topic. The details of the question and answer session I shall give to you at the culmination of the lecture. But please let it suffice for now that if there are any questions that come to mind during the lecture, please have them written down on the slip of paper which you have, and under no circumstances interrupt the speaker during the lecture. I would now request Mr. Muhammad Sheikh to please come up to the rostrum and address us to the topic, what Al-Quran says about the Kaaba and the Qibla. Mr. Muhammad Sheikh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan the rejected. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be unto you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the gathering. The topic, as mentioned, is what Al-Quran says about the Kaaba and the Qibla. But before I speak anything about the Kaaba and the Qibla, I would like to give you a brief summary to what I'm going to speak. The word Kaaba means the house of Allah, the sacred house. And the Qibla means what is in front of a Muslim when he prays towards Kaaba, meaning what he faces. That is the meaning of the Qibla, what is in front of him. And in all parts of the world, the Muslim faces the Kaaba while he offers his salah, the prayer. The Kaaba is situated in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia, and it's the sacred house of Allah. The understanding of the house of Allah in all times, when Allah mentioned about His house, it exists from the day one. When I will read the ayats and when we analyze, then we'll come to know very specifically that Allah mentions about the house of Allah from the day one. Surah Al-Imran 3, ayah number 96. Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nasi lalladhi bi Bakkata mubarakan wa hudan lil alamin. The translation, the first house appointed for people is that at Becca, full of blessing and of guidance of all worlds. The simple understanding and the simple fact is the first house Inna awwala bayt. For surely this is the first house. The most important thing in this ayah is that the first house. Allah created the heavens and the earth. So He made this as the first house. The purpose is wudiya linnas, made for mankind. Lalladhi bi Bakkata, that is in Becca, Mubarakan wa hudal lil alameen. It is a place of blessing and guidance for all worlds. Meaning from the day one. From the day one. And it is a guidance for mankind, meaning all people, all the nationalities, every person who is born in this planet Earth, he knows this is the first house. Whether he is a Jew or a Christian or is a Hindu or a Buddhist or an atheist, he knows there is a creator and he has made a house. He may have not read the Quran, but he knows. And I will explain in detail how. This first house which Allah made for mankind as a guidance, and it is in Becca and Mubarak and guidance for all worlds. But people are born in different environments, different schools of thoughts. They, in their own religious understanding, they make houses thinking that this is the God, Allah's house, in their minds. Like the Hindus, they will worship idols. They think this is the house of God, meaning any kind of worship relating to the house of God. The Jews have got a house in Jerusalem. The Christians has got the house of concept of the house in Jerusalem. So everybody in this world has got the concept of the house. But the real truth is we are analyzing today. What Quran speaks for mankind is inna wala bayt, surely, without doubt, the first house, wudiya linnas, that is made for mankind. Lalladhi bi Bakkata, that is in Becca, Mubarakan wa hudal lil alameen. It is a blessing place and a guidance for all worlds. In the Quran, the other attributes to this house is mentioned in various places in the portions of the Quran. So in that booklet you will note, in the point sections, I have used little terminologies which are exact words of the Quran, that what the Quran speaks about this house. In Quraysh, Surah 106, Ayah 3, Rabba hadal bayt, meaning Lord of this house. In Surah Hajj 22, Ayah number 29, the ancient house, Bil Baytil Atiq, Wal Baytil Ma'mur, the house of full of life or populated. Al-Tur, Surah 52, Ayah number 4, Ahlul Bayt are the people of the house. This Al-Bayt is the house of Allah, and it is for mankind, people who believe, who practice this house, which I will explain in detail in the future in my lecture. The people around and people who are accepting this house as the reality, so they are the Ahlul Bayt. All the prophets are the Ahlul Bayt. All the Muslim world are the Ahlul Bayt. Ummul Qura, mother of the cities. Al-Balad al-Amin, the city of security. Ardh al-Muqaddasa, holy land. Ardh al-Lati Barakna, the land which we have blessed. There may be some other titles as well. I have just mentioned few of them, mentioning about this place, Mecca, Bakka, Bayt, and the house of Allah. The Quran, as we all Muslim world knows, that this is the book of all times. It gives you information from all times. So in my lecture, you will notice that I will travel into time, or we will understand the history of the Allah's house. The history of the Allah's house. Like it is, we have noted in this ayah is the first house. So in Surah Al-Maidah, 97 ayah, جَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْكَعْبَةَ الْبَيْتَ الْحَرَامَ قِيَامًا لِلنَّاسِ وَالشَّهْرَ الْحَرَامَ وَالْهَدْيَ وَالْقَلَائِدِ ذَلِكَ لِتَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Allah has made the Kaaba, the sacred house, an establishment for people, and the sacred month, and the offering, oblique gifts, and the necklace or orbits, that you may know that Allah has knowledge of what is in the skies and in the earth, and that Allah is well acquainted with all things. Allah created the heavens and the earth, the skies and the earth. Allah created everything. So in this ayah we come to know that Allah made the house as the sacred house. Allah made the Kaaba as the sacred house. جَعَلَ اللَّهُ كَعْبَةَ الْبَيْتَ الْحَرَامَ, meaning Allah made the sacred house. You must listen very carefully, because generally we have understood in our times that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam made the Kaaba. That is the general understanding. But Allah says, جَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْكَعْبَةَ بَيْتَ الْحَرَامَ قِيَامًا لِلنَّاسِ. Allah made the Kaaba, the sacred house, قِيَامًا لِلنَّاسِ, establishment for mankind, وَالشَّهْرَ الْحَرَامَ, and the sacred month, وَالْهَدْيَ, and the offering, وَالْقَلَائِدِ, and the orbits. ذَلِكَ لِتَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Now, this Kaaba, a special relationship with the people of all times is that this is the sacred house of Allah, which Allah made, establishment for mankind, that the mankind of all times will be establishing, which I will explain in further ayahs. That is establishment of all times. The Muslims practice Salah. The Muslim practice Hajj and Umrah when they visit the house. That is the establishment in all times. Qiyam al-Linnasi wa Shahr al-Harama. The Shahr al-Haram, the sacred month we all know is Ramadan, and the months of the Hajj related to the Kaaba, Shawwal, Zilqad and Zilhijj. So this sacred months is because of the Kaaba, and the establishment is because of the Kaaba. Wal Hadiya, and when we visit there, we offer sacrifice. When we go there, we offer sacrifice, Hadiya. We don't have a very good equivalent translation of Hadiya as a value or value of the Quran. Like if I say, what is the price of the Quran? We will not say in Islam. We will say, what is the Hadiya of the Quran? What is the Hadiya? Hadiya is something to do with like offer. We can't offer. This has no value. Meaning Quran cannot be valued in terms of money. Allah's message and Allah's words cannot be terms in the materialistic value. So we use the word Hadiya. So we offer our lives, or we offer our sacrifice as an animal when we perform the pilgrimage or Hajj. When we go to Hajj and Umrah, or when we go there, then we have to offer sacrifice. We give our lives and sacrifice ourselves in Mecca when we visit for Hajj. So because of the Kaaba, the house of Allah, we offer. That is Hadiya. Wal Qalaid, and these are when people who have visited the Mecca, or if you even, it's not mentioned very clear in the photographs, when you go there, there are orbits, or we go round the Kaaba. On the rounds of the orbits or the systems we perform pilgrimage, Umrah and Hajj, we go around the Kaaba. This is the Qalaid. ذلك لتعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وأن الله بكل شيء عليم. That you may know that Allah has full knowledge of what is in the skies and in the earth, and that Allah is well acquainted with all things. So this is the few mentioning about the Kaaba and the system prevailing there was in all times from the day one. Where is the situation of the Kaaba is between two hilltops. In a valley, it is also referred in the Quran as a sacred valley, or a valley where nothing is without cultivation in Mecca. So when we go and perform pilgrimage or Umrah, we run between two hilltops that are Safa and Marwa. The next ayah is referring from Surah Al-Baqarah 2 and 158 ayah. Inna as-Safa wal-Marwata min sha'airillah, sha'airillah, faman hajja al-bayta bi'tamara fala junaha alayhi an yattawafa bihima, wa man tatawwa'a khayran fa inna Allaha shakirun alim. Surely the Safa and Marwa are the symbols of Allah. So if those who visit the house in season or at other times, it is not a difficulty over them that they should compass them round. And if anyone obeys his own impulse to good, and be sure that Allah is you who recognizes and knows. So this Safa and Marwa are two hilltops, and in those two hilltops is a sacred valley where Kaaba is situated. So Allah says these are the symbols of Allah. Sha'airillah, Sha'airillah. So whoever the Muslims of all times, from day one, from all times, when they run between these two hilltops, is because they are the Sha'airillah. Inna as-Safa wal-Marwata min sha'airillah, faman hajja al-bayta bi'tamara fala junaha alayhi an yattawafa bihima, wa man tatawwa'a khayran fa inna Allaha shakirun alim. Meaning that these two hilltops, the Safa and Marwa, the Muslim world go and they do that because they are the symbols of Allah. And it has been a practice from all times, from the day one when the Kaaba was there and these symbols of Allah was there. So now, up till now, I've tried to explain in these three ayat that this is the first house, and we have called it, Allah has called it as a Kaaba, and this is a sacred house, and its situation between two hills, Safa and Marwa. People perform pilgrimage, Hajj and Umrah when they go there, and the Salat is being practiced. So this system was at all times. Now this system, every non-Muslim doesn't know. But they have got the concept of house of Allah in their own minds. So when they come to know, they become Muslims.